back to our podcast. I'm the gentleman, accompanied by the disturbed Southern Belle.
Hello.
And in this episode, we'll be talking or continuing our series on the more disreputable and fraudulent psychics and so on.
Nah, never been a single one, I don't think, has there?
So, this episode's probably going to be about the most famous because they're definitely one of the most profitable.
Yeah, and
I-
even some more in recent times, they're still making movies and things
Oh, yeah.
about their stuff, so yeah.
I guarantee, and I wouldn't say this about any other topic that we've discussed, I guarantee that 99% of our listeners will know who these two are.
At the maybe not everything about them, but at the very least,
They'll have at least
have
seen
heard
the
their
movies.
names or probably have at least seen one of their movies. Because if you're
Yeah.
watching this, I'm sure you're at least watched some horror movie. If you're listening to this, rather, you're into some horror type stuff. So yes, you've at least heard or watched one of their movies.
So,
One of them, at the very least. There's been a bunch.
oh, so many. Anyways, this episode we'll be talking about Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Mm-hmm.
My personal favorite. So, for years, Ed and Lorraine Warren were known predominantly by those who had particular interest in ostensibly real paranormal phenomena.
All right.
They were notorious for their involvement in some of the most famous, quote-unquote, heavy quoting here, true haunting cases,
Correct.
such as Amityville, Enfield, and so on.
Definitely
so many.
several. There's a lot.
They're also known for their occult museum, which it's kind of underwhelming.
I've seen it, yes.
It's kind of really underwhelming.
It's kind of like the infamous Annabelle doll. When you see
Yeah.
the real one, it's not. Nah. It's a Raggedy Ann. Let's just put it what it
Yeah.
is. I mean, there you go. It's not
all
the
just kind of
movie.
boring.
It's not the movie Annabelle that looks like this weird little freaking demon doll. It's just a Raggedy Ann. And it's under a red light to make it look, especially, whatever. But anyway.
Ominous.
Yeah, I guess.
Demonic.
Sure.
Anyway, there are numerous, there's numerous evidence of the pair being nothing more than just fake. And they exploited vulnerable people for profit. Ray Garton, a horror author who was hired to write the book In a Dark Place for them, has given the very scathing details about them in an interview, which I will include here. So,
which I find interesting when you get someone who's kind of on the inside giving details.
Yes, absolutely.
I do. I love it.
So, the interview was conducted by Damned, Connecticut, and I'll read a portion of the transcript in order to give a first-hand view of inside the Warren schemes. So, starts out with Damned, Connecticut asking, what was your experience writing In a Dark Place and working with the Warrens and the Snedekers? So, Ray Garton would answer, I was offered the job, and because I used to read of Ed and Lorraine Warren's exploits in the National Enquirer when I was a kid, I took it. I went to Connecticut and spent some time with the Warrens and the Snedekers. When I found that the Snedekers couldn't keep their individual stories straight, I went to Ed Warren and explained the problem. They're crazy, he said. All the people who come to us are crazy, and that's why they come to us. Just use what you can and make the rest up. You write scary books, right? Well, make it up and make it scary. That's why we hired you.
That's just wonderful right out of the gate.
Amazing.
Then also their clients. They're crazy.
They're all crazy.
Why would they come to us unless they were crazy? It's not funny, but Jesus, right? I mean, well, it is funny because that's how they thought of them. Just from their perspective, that's literally how they thought about the people who came to them. They're all crazy.
Also, to be fair, some of them were absolutely...
probably were. I'm sure. Some of them probably had mental health, schizophrenic, all kinds of stuff. I'm sure they did.
Well, that too, but I was going more along the lines of some of them were absolutely in alongside Ed and Lorraine.
Oh, yeah, of course. They were probably getting a little benefit from it as well.
Oh, yeah, they were absolutely getting kickbacks.
Getting their fame, or if nothing else, getting their little moment in the sun, so to speak. If nothing, at the very least, getting that.
But, anyways, Damned Connecticut would follow up When in the cycle of events were you brought in? To which Ray Garton would answer, I became involved in 1991, years after the alleged events were supposed to have happened. Damned Connecticut would follow. You've publicly questioned the Snedeker story. What things in particular don't you believe? What leads you to question their credibility? Do you have any particular evidence? Ray Garton would answer, they couldn't keep their story straight, for starters. The family was a mess, but their problems were not supernatural, and they weren't going to get the kind of help they needed from the Warrens. At the time I was with them, Carmen Snedeker was running some kind of illegal interstate lottery scam that I don't think was I was supposed to find out about. But when I did, she repeatedly urged me not to mention it in the book and not to tell anyone. Their son, around whom their entire story was centered, was nowhere to be found. I never met him. I was allowed to talk with him briefly on the phone, but as soon as he started telling that things he saw in the house had went away after he'd been medicated, Carmen abruptly ended the conversation. Which is quite telling.
Yeah, it pretty much says he's probably schizophrenic or something and having hallucinations or something along those lines. That's what it sounds like, something like that. Which is very sad in a way that you exploited someone who
Yeah.
has a mental issue.
It's even more messed up that it's your own son.
Well, yeah, I mean, of course it's more messed up if it's your own child, but I mean, in general, period, doing it to anybody
Oh,
is
yeah.
disgusting. But
Absolutely.
yes, definitely to your own, a loved one, or well, I should say, loved one, quote, quote unquote, their loved one.
Have to have the quotes there.
I mean, I don't know, but people do messed up stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just I guess in the big scheme of things, that's probably not as bad as a lot of the crap we've heard of in life, but still, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
Anyways, continuing with Ray Garton. The Warrens repeatedly told me that they had videotape of actual supernatural activity shot in the house, and they were going to show it to me while I was there, but they never did. They said they could not find the tape.
Well, yeah.
I never saw the inside of the house, the former funeral home in the story, because the people living there at the time wanted absolutely nothing to do with this circus.
Fair enough.
And they claimed there were no problems at all in the house. The Warrens explained that this was because the house had been cleansed by a priest who had performed an exorcism, but to the best of my knowledge, the Catholic Church had nothing to do with the Warrens in any official way, and there are questions about the legitimacy of the priests who had worked with them. Since writing the book, I've learned a lot that leaves no doubt in my mind about the fraudulence of the Warrens and the Snedekers. Not that I have had much doubt, anyways. I've talked to other writers who've been hired to write books for the Warrens, always horror writers like myself, and their experiences with the Warrens have been almost identical to my own. The Snedekers claimed that they had no idea the house was a former funeral home until after they'd moved in, and from what I've learned, that was not the case. It seems nearly everyone in the neighborhood knew that it used to be a funeral home. It was no secret. I've learned that the supernatural problems in the house didn't start until the landlord, frustrated after months of being unable to get the rent out of the Snedekers, made moves to have them evicted. Then all of a sudden the house was infested with demons.
Makes sense.
Carmen Snedeker, now Carmen Reed, is the one who did all of the talking while I was gathering information for the book. Al Snedeker said very little. Carmen was running the show. Now she's selling herself as a spiritual advisor and claims she's always had this gift, although it never surfaced while I knew her. Back then, she was just a housewife running an illegal lottery scam. She's also on the lecture circuit now, which tells me she's learned a lot from the Warrens and their nephew, John Zaffis. Zaffis was around when I was working on the book, but it was made clear to me by Ed and Lorraine that he was not really an investigator. He was just trying to learn the business. Now the story goes that John has always been the lead investigator in this case. My story hasn't changed since 1992, but their story keeps going through all kinds of transformations. Which is also quite telling.
Very much so, yes. Very, very much so.
Anyways, Damned Connecticut follows up. There have been some speculation to the Snedeker's son's illness. You've questioned whether he actually had cancer, as the family has claimed, and suggest that he may have been wrestling with drug addiction instead. What do you base your conclusions on? Ray Garton would answer, like I've said, I was never allowed to meet the boy, and my only telephone conversation with him was cut short when he started to say the wrong things. When I was in Connecticut with the Snedekers, what I was told about his illness was odd. They never seemed to be too sure exactly what type of cancer he had. It was very vague, never pinpointed, never named. I don't know about you, but if my son had gone through a battle with cancer, I would be very familiar with all of the details.
True. True enough.
There were vague references to drug problems the boy had had, but the Snedekers didn't seem to be willing to discuss that in any detail. Since writing the book, I've talked to a couple of people who knew the Snedekers when they lived in the house in question, and it seems no one in the neighborhood was aware of the boy having cancer. I've been told he was a troublemaker who had had some difficulties with drugs and mental illness, but nothing like the health problems the Snedekers claim. The Snedeker story involves an incident in which some young female relatives were fondled and groped in the house by demonic hands. But the boy had confessed that he had done the fondling and groping, and that's why he was removed from the house.
Oh my god.
Hey, at least he owned up to it.
Well, I guess, yeah.
Gotta give him that at the very
Fair
least,
enough, I
if
guess.
nothing
Right.
else.
Jeez.
Literally nothing else.
My god, though. It just gets better and better, doesn't it?
Yeah. Continuing with Ray Garton, personally, I have no solid evidence that the boy did not have cancer, and I have never said that he didn't. But the evidence he did is pretty flimsy, and when you combine that with the other holes in this story and some of the disreputable details about the Snedekers and the Warrens, it's difficult not to question it. As I've said, I'm not claiming the boy did not have cancer, but there are reasons to doubt the claim, and all those reasons are related to the wobbly and ever-changing story told by Carmen Reed. Damned Connecticut would follow up. Did you hear from either the Warrens or the Snedekers after the book was completed? Have you heard from them recently? Ray Garton would answer, no, I have not been in contact with them since doing the book. Carmen has denounced the book I wrote, saying it wasn't accurate and that she and her family had little or no involvement in it. That is a lie. They were very involved. They signed off on the whole thing. I spent a whole lot of time with them in their home, but they've reinvented this story for the movie and the new book that's being written about it. So it's important for their presentation that they dismiss the book I wrote. If my book was inaccurate, it's because I was told to make up whatever I needed to. While this is simply Garton's statements, if there is any truth to them, it does kind of change your view of the Warrens.
Definitely. If
Just
they
a
basically just
teensy
said,
bit.
just make up whatever you need to. These people are crazy. Just write a book. You're a horror writer. Make it scary.
Yeah.
It's whatever you want to say, man. That's what happened. We'll back you up.
So in 2013, Ed and Lorraine became household names, where their exploits have been previously largely unknown outside of circles of so-called paranormal investigators.
Right.
The Conjuring had made them heroes of one of the most successful horror franchises in history.
Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
I mean, the
I
Conjurings.
mean, it's still going, ain't
There's
it?
some big movies. Yeah, they made a lot of money on the Conjurings. That's not even count. Like, I guess. Well, you can sort of count the Annabelles in there a little bit, but all those movies. I mean, those are
yeah.
big movies.
Oh yeah,
They made
absolutely.
a lot of money.
Hell, I'd say Annabelle's almost as big as Chucky.
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's a huge things. I mean, at the very least, people have saw something. I mean, if you didn't watch them, you've heard of them. You know about them. You know they're. You know what I'm saying? If they're big enough, you've at least heard of it. You know it's a big thing.
Oh,
if
yeah,
you're hearing
absolutely.
about it a lot.
Hell, I was like really young when I saw my first like Conjuring movie, and that was the first time I'd seen or interacted with anything related to the Warrens.
Right.
The next was actually the Amityville
I mean,
book.
the movies are good. I mean, they're good movies in the aspect of. Now, I'm not saying any of them happened, but there's other movies where they weren't actually depicted. You know, like the Amityvilles and different things.
Yeah.
But I mean, the Conjuring movies, they're good movies. I mean, they're okay. They're cool. You know, the stuff that's happening, it's neat. I mean, they're okay horror movies. But yeah, they're out there, man.
But yeah, like I was saying, I was really young when I first saw like The Conjuring. I don't remember which one it was, but
probably the first one.
probably.
You know, whichever. I don't know about order or anything right off the top of my head.
But even before that, I knew the names Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Right.
I didn't know why. I didn't know what they did, but I knew the names. That alone should tell you that as a child, I would say I was probably around 5 years old.
Yeah,
maybe 6.
I don't know.
And I knew the names Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Whenever the first one came out, I'm sure. I don't know.
And for context for the audience, when I was that young, I had no interest in horror movies. I had no interest in horror at all. Neither did the people I lived with. My only interaction with horror was with the bell.
Mhm.
Maybe some other extended family, but that was irrelevant. That was when I first saw Chucky. Uh, but yeah, that's how big the Warrens were.
Right. And still
It's kind
are.
of crazy to think about too.
Right, and still are technically. I
Yeah,
mean, because yeah, this stuff's not over. They're still making, as far as I know, they're still making movies. I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm thinking there's one that came out very recently. I'm thinking, or coming out very recently, I should say.
I think so.
I'm thinking I heard something about they're making a new one. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't done a lot of reading on it, but I probably saw every single one of them that's came out on the Conjuring series. The Annabelles, I watched one or so of them. I didn't care as much for those. They just
Fair enough.
weren't my. I don't know. I mean, I don't have anything wrong with the doll thing. I mean, like I watched all the Child's Place movie.
I think the issue with Annabelle is it's just kind of boring.
It's so I don't know. I just didn't get into it as much. Now, if you love, if you like them, fine. I mean, I'm not condemning the movie by any stretch. If you like it, fine. They just weren't my
Just
thing.
not your cup of
They just
tea.
weren't my thing.
Yeah.
Now I watched all the Conjurings because they're all different and just crazy.
Yeah.
Out there goofiness, and stuff, and there's interesting.
I also
Now I don't believe any of this crap
No.
necessarily happened, but they're interesting movies
It's
to watch.
entertainment.
It's entertainment, exactly.
also got to give them props for like the overarching narrative. Like
Yeah,
some of them, if not all of them, are linked together
sorta ish.
in one way or another, like by the demons or whatever.
They try to do it now. Whether or not that was legit, of course, I'm sure not. I'm sure all that was added after just to make it more interesting and
Yeah.
oh god,
Make it more of a cohesive story.
exactly. But yeah, all this stuff happened years apart in different places. Yeah, it was not all linked up, but they tried to make a lot of things
Oh,
like
yeah.
that. They did, and
Which,
even
to
in
be
the
fair,
books,
like you pointed out, they're good movies.
it's
They're
money,
entertaining.
it's money maker. That's why they made like $1.2 billion on all this crap. But anyway.
Yeah, so if Ed and Lorraine Warren were simply scam artists, one question is how do they maintain such a positive reputation after all these years? Simply put, my personal theory, hysteria and sensationalism.
Hmm.
That's
Well, true.
probably it.
A lot of the things they covered were big news. That,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I mean, even Amityville back in the day, was a big thing. Now it's years and years old now, but back when it happened, I mean, it was a huge thing. It was crazy. The DeFeo family, the real story and everything. And then all this other supposed to happen. Blah blah blah. It was crazy. I mean, Amityville was huge. I mean,
Yeah.
there were several movies that came out after the original, and then they made a reboot of it. And then the book, I've read the book. I've probably seen most of the movies. I mean, the movies were meh, but
the book was good. I enjoyed the book.
But anyway, I mean, just that, and plus, all the other stuff. There was so many things, so many things. It's just, I mean, it's out there.
So, conveniently enough that you mentioned Amityville, one of the most famous is the Amityville
Probably
haunting.
was. That's probably kind of what put them on the map, to be honest. That's probably one of the first ones that really just was boom, kind of threw them out there. If I'm not mistaken, it's like one of the first books and everything they got involved in.
Yeah. So, for those who don't know, basic context here, Ronald DeFeo Jr. brutally murdered his parents and 4 siblings in their house in 1974.
Right.
A year later, the Lutz family moved in and experienced intense paranormal activity. The hauntings would occur at 3:15 when the family members were levitating off of their beds, smelling odd odors, green slime oozing out of the walls. Common stuff.
Yeah, I mean, if you read the book, it was nuts. It's nuts. All the stuff that they claimed happened. Now later on, they said that they didn't. I don't know. I wasn't there, but it was craziness. It was literal freaking demon house or us. It was nuts.
Yeah.
The stuff they were describing.
So the Warrens were called to investigate the house. Lorraine recounted that she saw the spirits of the DeFeo family. Ed felt like the house reeked of death and felt the heavy demonic energy on him. They were the only ghost investigators. Sorry, not hunters. Completely separate thing.
Sure, they didn't hunt them. They just went out and checked them out and told you you're on
Yep.
your own. They're here.
Joking, of course.
Well,
they
of
did
course.
more in the
No,
movies.
exactly.
But yeah. They were the only ghost investigators who experienced the paranormal activity that the Lutz family went through. However, the Warrens made the paranormal investigations in Amityville more valid due to their highly esteemed career in demonology.
Yeah.
The Lutz family moved into the home after getting it for a steep discount. However, they fled the home after 28 days, citing paranormal activity as the reason. They then wrote a book about the haunting. This tale would later be turned into the Amityville Horror.
Right.
Luckily, Ed and Lorraine Warren were more than happy to investigate the haunting. They even managed to take a photo of the infamous Amityville ghost.
Sure.
However, this picture would soon come under scrutiny as it revealed that the haunting was most likely a hoax.
No.
I know it's unbelievable.
I don't believe that.
There's a picture.
It's gotta be true. Gotta be true.
God, it's crazy to think that pictures don't mean crap anymore.
I mean, really considering back then, I mean, Photoshop and stuff wasn't really so much a thing, but even then, stuff could be staged, doctored, whatever.
But back
that's
then,
way
it had
back
much
before
more
AI and all
credibility.
that crap. I mean, that was way back in the day when people were literally freaking red rooming, developing the film by hand kind of stuff. I mean, but
Good
still,
old Polaroids.
exactly. Well, yeah, Polaroids, all kinds of crap like that, and still stuff could be doctored and whatever.
Anyways, it would seem that the Lutz family couldn't actually afford their house, and this was why all this happened. So they simply took advantage of the tragedy that occurred in the home to just kind of get a way out.
Yeah. Just kind of slide out in the middle of the night. Yeah.
So that at least is the opinion of Jay Anson, a journalist who had been approached by the Lutz family about turning their story into a book.
Because, yes, if there are ghosts after you and you're levitating off your bed and green slime's coming down the walls, first thing you're going to do is go out and say, hey, we need somebody to write a book about this.
Hell yeah.
Nothing else. That's what we want.
Got to make some money off of our pain and suffering.
There you go. Got to. Got to.
Anyways. So it should be noted that the Lutz family only approached Anson after falling out with their first choice, William Weber, who I'm sure some people at least will recognize the name of. So the Lutz family and Weber parted ways after failing to decide how to split the book's profits. According to Weber, he and the Lutz family orchestrated the whole story for profit. Now, that's just one of the Ed and Lorraine famous hauntings.
Yeah, really, that is definitely just one.
Just one.
There's so many.
So many.
There's so many. I mean, I'll give them that. They've got a ton of freaking hauntings that they made some money off of.
Oh, yes.
Books, and now movies, and God knows what else. Lectures, all kinds of mess.
So, Netflix actually released a documentary about the events that inspired The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It.
I watched it.
I did too.
Watched all of it.
Yep.
It was interesting.
Not a bad one.
No, it was interesting. I mean, whether or not you want to believe it or not, it's entertainment. You take all this stuff with a grain of salt. You don't have to take it as legitimate. I believe this is happening.
I never do.
I take it as entertainment and just
every
that's
time.
It. I mean, could it have happened? Sure. Did it happen? Probably not. But I don't care.
What are you gonna do if it did?
There you go. I mean, that's it. Watch this movie or documentary about it. That's all I can do, and that's what we did.
But anyways, yeah, the documentary on Netflix is titled "The Devil on Trial." Both of the films focused on Arne Johnson and the Glatzel family that Arne killed, or after Arne killed his landlord in 1981. As the story goes, Arne became possessed by a demon following a visit by Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Well, that makes sense.
Yep.
I'm joking.
They had come to the Glatzel family home and successfully removed a demon that had possessed David Glatzel.
Right.
Arne was a family friend and attended the exorcism with the family. Following this event, Arne killed his landlord and attempted to use demonic possession as a legal defense.
See, the people don't think about that. You exorcise a demon, where's it going to go? It's got to go in some. It's got to go somewhere. Goes out of one person, it's going to jump right into somebody else.
I just thought it went back to hell.
You're wrong.
That seemed like the logical conclusion.
You're wrong. Now
of course, I say logical conclusion as if any of this is logical.
I mean, yeah, there you go.
Actually,
I've always kind of wondered that. I mean, just thinking about it, sometimes you would think if there was a vessel there, like a person, it could just possess. Yeah. Like if you exercise and it's just out loose, why would it not just jump into somebody else? You would just, just kind of thinking, not saying I believe in any of it, but just thinking about, just
It would
the
make sense.
feel, I don't know. They never do that though. Most of the time.
Anyways, David Glatzel was 11 years old when he supposedly got possessed by a demon. The young child would mutter in Latin, growl, recite the Bible, experience frequent convulsions, and hiss. He had mysterious bruises and scratches all over his body. Gee, I wonder where they could have came from.
Mm.
Scratch his arm furiously.
Well, I mean, it could be 1,000 things, exactly. Bruises, everything. God, I got mysterious bruises on my body all the time.
I get mysterious cuts on my body all the time.
Well, there you go.
I have cuts all over both of my legs. I don't know how any of them got there.
God knows.
Like, I genuinely don't.
Mine's probably from a crazy dog or something jumping on me in the middle of the night, but,
They'll do that.
it is what it is.
Anyways, Carl Glatzel, the eldest brother, doesn't believe in this false story of the possession to murder. He doesn't think David is connected to anything in the case. The truth was that Arne Johnson was possessive over Debbie Glatzel and easily jealous of interactions with other men. There were rumors that Debbie was having an affair with Alan Bono, which is suspected to be the reason that...
Right, he was the landlord. Everybody was wondering.
Oh, yeah. It's suspected to be the reason that Johnson brutally murdered Bono. It takes another dark turn as well when Glatzel shared that he had found a note from his mother's belongings about giving their families a certain medicine. His mother would drug the children with Sominex to go to sleep, and so it was easier for them to quote-unquote control them.
I'm not sure if Sominex is still around, but anybody who doesn't know, it's like a sleeping pill. It's like whatever, Tylenol PM kind of crap or something without Tylenol or whatever.
So Carl thinks the reason why David was acting so incredibly odd was because of the Sominex. The drug has been known to make individuals hallucinate, have mood swings, gain weight, all which is similar to what David went through being possessed as a child.
Right.
Currently, the Glatzel family no longer talks to one another after this tragic occurrence, supposedly.
Well, that definitely makes sense because you've heard of people taking too many Benadryl or something, and that's like a sleeping pill, and you hallucinate, all kinds of, I don't know, it affects everybody differently. Some people can take a bottle and not have, really any those side effects, and other people take 3 and be seeing a demon in the floor. I mean, it's different for everybody.
Ironic that you mentioned that, because I was earlier thinking about, I can't remember what it was called. I don't think it was Benadryl, but it might have been. There was a certain drug that would reportedly make people see what the internet has called the Hat Man. He would just kind of stand there watching.
I know what you're talking about. I'm not sure. I can't remember what they said it was. It was something like that, though. I mean,
I'm pretty sure it was a sleeping agent, a sleeping pill.
I mean, I've never had any side effects like that of anything. Which, I mean,
I've had hallucinations, but that's usually from sleep deprivation.
Yeah, I mean, more like that. Now, if I sometimes see things out of the corner of my eye or something kind of thing, but that's usually, like I said, sleep thing. But I've never really taken like a handful of Benadryl either, so I mean, there's that. But
fair
still.
Enough. It is kind of curious.
I've heard a lot of people say all kinds of loopy stuff. I think it gives you, I mean, it's different for everybody. Some people I've heard say it makes them feel euphoric. Some people, it's like, it makes you nervous. It makes you, I don't know, it makes you itchy,
like
crazy. I guess it's like a bad trip or a good, I don't know. I just leave it to that. I'm not going to test it because my luck, it would probably be a bad trip. I'll probably be seeing the Hat Man chasing me around the house with a knife or something. So no, thank you. I'd just rather not do that.
Same.
But that's me.
Anyways, off topic. The Devil on Trial interviews the Glatzel family and recounts their experience with Ed and Lorraine Warren. According to Carl Glatzel, Ed and Lorraine Warren coached his mother into believing that his brother was possessed, even going so far as to describe what a possessed child may do in front of David. It wasn't long before David started mimicking these actions. I wonder why.
Yeah, for real, right? Shocking, isn't it?
Really, you just tell the mother about all of these supposed things that a possessed child would do in front of the child pretending to be possessed.
That, or if they were coaching him,
Yeah.
Even that.
It's very possible they were
I mean,
directly coaching the
it's kind of
child.
like intertwining there. Yeah, this kid's pretending to be possessed. You're telling him what they do, and then maybe they're coaching him, and you're telling them, well, this is what they should be doing, because
Yeah.
like they know, of course, what possessed them. Whatever. But anyway, whatever.
Anyhow, following the murder, the Glatzel family was thrown into the spotlight. According to David, Ed and Lorraine Warren talked to his mother into signing a book deal. Talked his mother into signing a book deal with them for less than $5,000.
Shoo, man, that ain't nothing, is it? Really?
Not really, when you consider how much they made.
Probably made off of it. Yeah, I don't know what they made off the top, off the top of my head, but I'm sure it was a hell of a lot more than
Easily
5,000.
hundreds of thousands.
I'm sure.
Easily.
I'm sure. I'm sure, at least. Just off the book itself. Nothing else they probably got off of it. Lectures and all that crap they probably gave off of it, and stuff. Because they made a lot of money off going around talking about the crap.
Anyways, David recalls that the book's author, Gerald Brittle, tried to keep the story factual, but was actually shot down by Ed Warren, who stated, "Make it scary. People come to us. They buy scary."
Well, fair enough. I mean, in that way, at least he knows what sells, right? TNA.
Except, essentially.
I mean, that's what it is. I mean, that's kind of what the
TNA
audience
of horror.
There you go. That's exactly what I meant. Exactly what
it's entertainment. Exactly. It's all entertainment.
The scary, the outlandish, the gruesome, the
you
brutal.
You got to know what your audience wants.
There you go. Exactly.
That's what it is. He knew what his audience wanted.
The people who are reading it, that's what they're wanting to hear, and that's why they're coming back. The crazier, the better.
That's basically another thing. Probably another big reason as to why they were so successful. People probably knew, or at least had suspicions that this was fake. I'm sure
they probably
but they
did.
Just enjoyed the entertainment
I'm sure there's lots of people who did. I'm sure there are. But then there's all those people who, what if?
Yeah.
What if? And then...
Which is fair.
They get lured into it, and then it's word of mouth. And man, it spreads like wildfire because this is sensationalism, and that's what people freaking feed on.
Yeah,
it's like absolutely. A freaking drop of blood in the water, kind of thing. And freaking sharks come out, man. They're wanting it. And I understand it because, I mean, I enjoy it too. Now, not probably in the same sense as some people, but yeah, the crazy crap, that's what you like. It's interesting. It's entertainment.
So, many of the cases Ed and Lorraine have quote-unquote investigated over the years, they've kind of fallen into speculation. However, a non-haunting related event may have hurt their reputation more than any ghost story. In 2017, The Hollywood Reporter received information that Ed Warren may have entered into a sexually abusive relationship with a 15-year-old girl when he was in his 30s.
Oh, what's wrong with that? I mean, that's just... Oh, my God.
I can't even joke about that.
It's a lot of things wrong with it. I know, but I mean...
Anyways, Judith Penny, in her 70s by the time of the report, had made an official report that Ed Warren engaged in a relationship with her when she was 15. She also claimed that Lorraine was aware of the relationship, which is so much more messed up. It
just makes it worse, doesn't it, in a way? I mean...
So much.
They're both just like...
They're both in on it.
Whatever. And now, whether this is true, I don't know. But if it...
Yes, take all of this with a grain of salt.
I mean, all of this is just, do your own research, come to your own conclusions on it, but...
Keep in mind, the woman was 70 when she filed the report.
Right. I mean...
There was so much time past that it's possible it was all fabricated.
Now,
I'm not going to say I believe it was or wasn't because there's no way to know for sure.
From being a survivor of something not like quite that same thing, but it takes a while. So, I'm not going to say anything about the age or difference in time because
I'm just saying take it with a grain of salt.
Exactly. Now, you don't know. This could be sour grapes at this point. Who knows? Maybe she saw the money they were making or whatever and wants to throw some shade on it. Who knows? I mean, it could legitimately have been just that. But then again, hearing the stuff you're hearing, it kind of makes you wonder.
It does.
I mean, they don't seem like the most stable people themselves.
They do not.
I mean, they really don't. I'm sorry.
Anyway, she had also claimed that she had lived with them for like nearly 4 decades, which is interesting.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? That's crazy.
During this time, she claims to have become pregnant with Ed's child. She then states that Lorraine convinced her to make up a story and get an abortion. They wanted me to tell everyone that someone had come into my apartment and raped me. I wouldn't do that. I was so scared I didn't know what to do, but I had an abortion. The night they picked me up from the hospital after having it, they went out and lectured and left me alone.
Kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it?
Eh,
I want to be honest. They may have had the kind of relationship where it wasn't really a relationship like Ed and Lorraine.
more of a relationship of convenience than
There you
anything
go.
else.
They were a name
Or
together.
a marriage of convenience.
They were a name together. They were Ed and Lorraine, whatever. And who knows?
Probably by like the later points, they really couldn't get divorced. Like from their point of view,
they were the names were so intertwined, and they built this kind of business and their whole livelihood together that maybe
if they did separate, it would have all come crumbling down.
It probably would have. I mean, but yeah.
And also, not to mention the just messiness of what would happen between them themselves. Sure. Like during court, like during the divorce.
I'm sure.
Like all the split and stuff that would have to happen.
Yeah, exactly. Who gets this, who gets that, blah, 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 whatever. Yes, it would have been awful. And it probably would have been easier just to stay together. Now, I'm not saying that's true. Maybe they loved each other dearly. I don't know. Maybe this woman just totally made this crap up. I have no idea.
But it's definitely something to think about.
It is very interesting, and it does make you wonder. It does.
Anyways, the reality is, like, no matter how you look at it, Ed and Lorraine are frauds.
Oh, yeah.
There's no way they're not.
They definitely are. I've heard so many different stories of them just telling people to make up stuff, them taking fraudulent photos, just numerous. You can look up numerous things that we're not going to cover because this would have been a 5-hour episode if we covered every freaking thing that they were accused of doing.
It's because there's so many details for each instance.
There is tons and tons and tons.
And if you do go into
and
that...
we may eventually break down some of them.
Oh, yeah,
I mean, it would be interesting to break down each one, but I mean, on this basic episode of what we're doing right now, it would have been so extensive, it would have been way too much.
Oh, yeah. But anyways, Ed and Lorraine have made a rough estimate of $1.2 billion from their franchise.
Oh, I'm sure. Easily.
They were known to be fairly wonderful storytellers. I'm not going to deny that.
Right.
I can't really deny that.
No.
And they have gotten many people fascinated in the supernatural.
Oh, definitely. Now, you can give them this. They are top-notch fraudsters. I mean, they sold it.
Like, to be completely honest, like, The Conjuring and stuff like that is what got me into horror. I mean... You introducing me to, like, Ed and Lorraine's stuff. I think Amityville was the very first thing that really got me into it.
I mean, I've been into horror ever since I can remember. I mean, ever since I was very young, as soon as I could read, I started reading different horror books, probably stuff I shouldn't even been reading. Watching movies, they never bothered me like they did certain kids. I mean, good grief, I was watching Nightmare on Elm Street when I was 6, 7 years old. I mean, I was very, very young when this crap was coming out. And I loved it, and I always have. It's just been my genre. I love horror. That is my number one thing. That would be if I was going to watch a movie and I had to pick something, that's 90% of the time what I'd probably pick.
Whereas I, on the other hand, was on the absolute opposite end of the spectrum. I used to be such a coward.
It never bothered me. I knew it was a movie. I'm not going to say when I was younger, sometimes I might not get freaked out by certain things to a point. I mean, yeah. But it was more like, it wasn't the movie. It's never a movie or anything that made me scared. It was more like stuff I'd hear on the news or something. Kind of crap, that make you nervous kind of thing. Like, oh my God, there's somebody out, lurking in the bushes. You watch that kind of crap. Stuff you hear on the news, like legitimate things or something, legitimate people, than like a movie.
Stuff that can actually hurt you.
Right. A movie's never bothered me. I never got freaked out by movies. I don't even think I've probably ever really had a nightmare about a movie. Not really. I've dreamed about them and stuff, but it was never really in a nightmarish form. It would just be more or less a dream about the movie in general.
I think the only movie I've ever actually had a nightmare about horror-wise would have been Chucky. Because I was so unprepared.
I just always thought it was funny. I know why.
Yeah, watching them back now, every single one of them, it's like a comedy.
They were hilarious to me when I was younger. They were supposed to be scary. And it just was
They're kind of not.
They just weren't scary to me.
Like when you actually look at it, It's so funny
Like when people would kick him
because
or
it's
something
so
and
off the
punt him.
wall.
It was
Yeah.
just so stupid and funny. I loved it. I never found it that scary. And I watched them when I was young, man. I mean, I was young when those first Chucky movies were coming out. I was watching them like right after they came out. And I can say this, my parents would pretty much let me watch what I wanted.
I want to
And
say I was probably like 1 when I watched, I think it was Child's Play. Not
and
1, 4. I think it was 4 when I watched the first movie. Sorry, I was thinking first movie and said 1. I think it was 4 when I watched Child's Play.
what an ugly doll. I
Yeah.
mean, come on. No! It was
It's
too funny.
hilarious.
It was too funny. I always thought it was. We used to die laughing at this stuff, but that was us. I mean, me and my friends and stuff. I mean, but we were weirdos. I don't know what to tell you.
Anyway, yeah, horror is a very fascinating genre. To me, no matter how I look at it, it's interesting.
I mean, I've never seen a single horror movie that I could ever say just terrified me. I mean, it's a freaking movie. It's never. I mean, there's some that are scarier in other ways. You know, the different things. Like there's little jump scares and stuff. But that's just whatever. You're not.
I
Expecting
don't really
something to happen.
count jump scares as horror, to be
But
honest.
I mean, that's
It's
what I'm
kinda
saying. That'd be the
just
most scared I've ever been in a movie. Like scared, be like a jump scare kind of. Oh,
And that's not
crap.
even real fear. That's
No.
just being startled at
But
something.
being fearful, no, I've never been scared or terrified. These people passing out watching The Exorcist or something. That's not me. That's just not me. Now, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. If you're that kind of person, I guess I just did not live a very sheltered life because I did not, and that's just the way it is. But yeah,
So, as a last thought from me, or last thing for me anyway, I think the only movie, like, as I got older, that would consistently kind of send chills down my spine, so to speak, not really scare me, but just kind of unease me, was Hellraiser.
they were kind of creepy.
I don't remember which one it was. There was one specific one.
I've seen all of them.
Oh yeah, we have all of them. I
But
think. Well,
yeah.
except for the last one. I don't think we ever got that on like DVD.
I've seen every single one of them. All, I mean, the very most recent, and they're what they are.
Yeah, it was the one. I can't remember which one it was, but I do remember one specific scene, and this was the very first scene I ever seen from any Hellraiser. Before I even knew it was Hellraiser, I was peeking through like your bedroom door when you were watching the movie, and there was this one scene where this guy's getting chased, and like this weird like demon, one of them was like one of the Cenobites was like a DVD thing.
Yeah.
And it shot the disc through the
Right.
guy's head.
I know who you're talking about.
It was so weird because the way it went through his head was wide. It didn't like you throw like a ninja star or
Right.
something. It was like the flat face of the DVD.
Right.
It was so goofy thinking about it now, but it was so freaky at the time.
They had some crazy stuff. Now, the earlier ones, especially, they were really creepy. And then they got, then it started getting a little more outlandish. But it just depends on which
It
one
also
you
gets
watch.
crazier when you read the comics,
Which
I imagine a lot of people probably haven't.
I haven't read the comics per
I
se.
suggest it. It gets
But
crazy.
yeah, they were out there, man. They were some of the creepier ones. I always liked the Hellraiser series. I mean,
yes,
they were
they're
just interesting.
so good.
Just the different
kinda wanna
Cenobites and
rewatch.
how they got made. La 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 la.
And the
it's
fact
just interesting.
the fact that the main guy, Pinhead, was actually like just a normal guy.
Yeah.
It just was very heavily traumatized
Yeah.
during war. And
then now he is what he is.
and the fact that he also like did something good like towards the end of his run in the Hellraiser
more or
series.
less.
Like he tried to save the girl and all that,
Yeah.
which
What are you gonna do? It's interesting.
highly recommend it.
Yeah.
Like,
like-
I really want to
I've
rewatch
watched
them
all of them.
myself. Anyways, right, episode's getting long. We're at like 43 minutes. I have nothing else to say. This entire bit was my outro. I haven't planned anything. I guess I'll turn it over to the bell.
It is, like I said, we hope you enjoy this. If nothing else, it just takes you, if you'd like us to break down some of the actual different Ed and Lorraine scenarios, we could definitely make a series of that. If that's something you're interested in, leave us a comment. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. And don't forget to
Stay disturbed.